Good morning and welcome back to When Pigs Fly. I'm Patty and I'm joined by Tracy and Renee. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you. Today we've got a fun topic. We are going to dig into some modalities that some of you may or may not be familiar with, and we feel it's really important because we're going to talk about sound healing, light language, and also art and how images carry energy that can help you heal. So, the premise behind sound healing and light language and art, if you will, is that there is no familiar word, that can attach to your fight or flight thought system. And so, by not understanding the tones and not understanding what's coming through, you have nothing to attach it to, and your body can just receive it, and you receive a healing that way. That's kind of a rough explanation. That we want to bring this up because I know a few of you have mentioned that you were new to light language and you didn't know what the heck it was. And Renee can share her experience with that. But just know that it's your soul's language and it's coming through to give you an opportunity for healing and for letting go and for releasing. It's there to support you. It's not a scary thing. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't even know fear. Keep that in mind. Light language does not know fear. So, with that said, I think so. Renee, why don't we jump in here and you can tell us about your experience with that?
Okay, great. Because and there's many different names for that. Like people will say light language, there's soul language, there's like they call all these different things, and it's different for everybody. Like you'll hear somebody saying something and you're like, oh my God, well, that's not like this person. And there's so many different aspects because it's the soul speaking, and that language is speaking to your soul. Like when I first started doing that, I was just doing like a regular old meditation and speaking regular human English language. And all of a sudden comes out of my mouth this language of like, "Asha golala, shidata, isha katata bolishai." And like, okay, so that just came through, and that was literally speaking to your soul. So I would invite you to stop and to feel that, like, pause the record, whatever, and feel that language, because it literally, for every single person listening, it was speaking to your soul, and your soul will get something completely different. It is something that your brain cannot wrap itself around. We are moving out of the human language. This is all about energy. Everything is breaking down. These timelines that are breaking down is the whole aspect of, okay, listen inside. That's your language. Everybody has the ability to speak that language, however it comes out. It might not be that, it might be something else. You can start to tone it, you can start to do whatever, but it's such a huge thing in the way we're moving. So if you're afraid of that language, I'm going to invite you to stop and feel and just breathe and say, okay, I'm ready to listen and I'm ready to move beyond the human element. Because if you're not, you're going to be stuck behind everything, and you're going to be going through a real shit show, because that's what that is. We are this energy of those, everybody's saying like the dragon energy and everything. This energy is about transformation and moving forward and letting go. And we've said this a million times, letting go of all the old ways. It's not the way to do it. When they're saying the timelines are breaking down, everything we know, and when I say everything we know, I mean doctor stuff, everything, like our health, everything, it's all shifting and changing. The cells, the blood, the DNA, the structure of who and what we are is shifting and changing. And the light language, the soul language, it's there to wake you up, let your body start to do what it's supposed to do, and not be afraid or not listen to what the doctors have said or what you know it to be or what the scientists have said, because it's all changing. It's all completely different. And I can see, Tracy, you're like, like, go ahead, stay, go do something, because I know you're like, your brain's going like, okay, yes, I got something to say here.
Well, yeah, I just think it's all fascinating because everything is changing. And it's an interesting study for me to watch people get in their heads and question and doubt. Well, no, because, we trust the doctors and science proves. And I just said it to someone yesterday. I said, if we even believe in the concept of evolution, which I could question that too, but, they say the only constant thing is change. we are meant to change, and everyone discounts, you know, rewind 50 years ago. Oh my gosh, our life was totally different. So I don't really quite understand why people don't think that we are a constantly evolving, we're constantly changing. And oh, by the way, the energies right now are in turbo mode. So we are, it's so available. So I expect everything to change. I'm almost of the mindset of, did that really just show up the same way as it did yesterday? Gosh, I wonder why that's moving so slow, right? Where most people are there, I think, Patty, you said it's stuck in default. And before we, light language, so much of the stuff is ancient. So chanting, you know, yoga, om, like this stuff is not new. It's been around for, you know, eons and eons. And I don't know why humans get caught in this. Why not light language? Why would you not believe that? Because we've been kind of, you know, that our ancestors have been doing this for eons, and it's good stuff. Like language is such a contaminant, because once you start putting words and definitions on things, you've lost the expansiveness, the availability of all the intelligence. You just took it and put it in a tiny, same thing. That's the doctors, the blood work. Well, hold on. No individual is the same. You cannot use ranges and standards because we are so multi-dimensional and complex. We're each our own unique specimen of, you know, amazingness. So potentially very scary, like Renee said, you know, like we encourage all of you to kind of open your eyes, think and feel and look a little broader than you ever have before. Because yeah, I'm just gonna claim it. You know, it can be a bit of a shit show if you want to stay stagnant. But if you open up, oh my goodness, the possibilities are off the charts amazing and off the chart. So there's so much more good coming in and available than not. And
It's tenfold. It's more than
yeah,
tenfold.
especially if you can open your mind up to, oh, your blood is not the same as it was a year ago. Oh, by the way, your bones are restructuring. So when they take an x-ray, they're not going to know what they're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, Tracy, you brought up such a great point here, several great points, but one that I really want everybody to dig in and listen to this. There is, our bodies are evolving. This is an evolution, number one. Number two, you chose to be here during this period, which is known as the Great Awakening. You actually chose to be here. And so if you're not embracing that, and we know we've evolved, we know we've evolved. So it goes with without saying that, yes, we know that it's possible for us to evolve, and it has to happen. And it is happening. And the energies coming in are completely supportive of this. Now, this episode is specifically for those of you who are over analytical, the overthinkers, you're in your head, I need proof, there has to be a reason. All of that is back in that fear-based fight. You're in fight or flight mode. When you say, I don't want to listen to light language because I need to know what every single sound means, that's fear, because why would you need to know? If you know it's in your best and highest good, you can just receive it. And that's what Renee was saying, is start practicing just receiving the energy and let go of the words that you have that trigger all of these fears. You know, if it's said to you, for example, it might have been, oh, you know, we're healing any feelings of lack around abundance. Well, if you hear the word lack, you're likely to go, here's what's missing. Versus if you're just taking in that beautiful energy of abundance and allow that to land, that's helping your body to connect with that frequency. So these are very powerful, they're very healing. And and it makes sense too about what Tracy was saying, that no two bodies are the same. And we need to stop thinking that if a study says 99 out of 100, listen to your body. And there are examples of people everywhere from all walks of life who have healed diseases that they were told no. And the reason they did it is they took control of their own health, listened to their body, and created the outcome they wanted and stuck with it. They trusted it, and it's got to be 100% faith. It can't be 99.9. And when you do that, that is the power that you have. Now we understand that there's going to be situations where you may have an existing thing where you're working with it. We're not telling you stop going to the doctor, but we're saying is start listening to your body. Start listening to your body and take that into consideration when you're given information, and then discern, okay, what of this, because that's going to at least get you on the right path to start being open to it. And because it's coming. It's it's coming, and pay attention to when you're following a crowd and saying, "Oh, well, I have the same symptoms as X, Y, and Z, so I'm just going to put myself in that boat." That's not how our wellness works in any way, and especially not in this new energy. And so, we invite you to entertain this. This isn't landing with you. We do offer parachutes, as we said in our first couple of episodes. And but this is what is going on. And I want to jump into two now about art, because I know actually the three of us all have I paint, Renee paints, and Tracy and I found it recently. Tracy actually took art in college. And so Renee, do you want to share about the energetics in art? Because I loved it when you shared this with me. I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. And it made me look at even my own creations differently.
Right. And what I think is so awesome about like art, when you're creating art, like when I started doing it, it was because I wasn't thinking. Like it's just like you're getting into this whole thing, and it's really another version of your soul coming out, and the beautiful energy that's around us, especially now because it's here, and it's only going to get stronger and stronger. So that energy comes over and through you, and you're bringing that love, that whatever somebody needs, into this piece of art that you're doing. Everybody can do this. And that love, that whatever's going there. So now all of a sudden you see that nobody looks at art the same way. There's always different versions, right? Okay, same thing, by the way, with light language, soul language, whatever you want to call it. Everybody hears something completely different. So you're doing this art. Now, what I find fascinating is, okay, somebody does a piece of art, you look at it like, oh my God, this is amazing, this is awesome. When you put that art in your home, that if the intention is right when you're putting it in there, and they're saying even some cases, either way, it's the energies of that. So now you put this art in your home, you're like, oh my God, this is so amazing, this is so awesome. The energy is working with the energy of your body and everything around you. So everybody that sees that, everybody that's in that house, the energy is flowing through the house, and it's assisting us in healing, clearing, whatever it is. And then if all of a sudden you look at that art piece, you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm over that. That's done. That's the difference they're saying about intention. So like, Patty, I know when I do the art, and I'm sure Tracy, when you were doing it, my intention is whoever's going to get this piece, they are going to receive what they need continually for a lifetime. And what they've said happens is you get this piece and you hang it up. Now everybody's shifting, everybody's changing. Well, eventually what's happening, okay, now you change. The energy of that piece is changing, whether it's art like a statue, a painting, whatever it is, the energy of that's going to change and shift. And all of a sudden you might be, you know what, this doesn't belong here anymore. This needs to go into another room. And you put it into this other room because the energy has now shifted and changed. And maybe that person needs it more. It's continually changing. And I had that experience with a friend of mine who took the piece, and I knew immediately when she put it in her house. And I called her to confirm it because I could feel the energetic shift. Years later, she moved it, and I felt something within me, and I was like, oh my God, she moved that painting. And when I called her, she's like, yep, moved it into another room. So it really does. It allows yourself, now, again, come back to you feeling what's right. Don't just look at it like, oh yeah, that's pretty. Stop and feel it. What is it doing to your body? What's happening? It's the same thing with the light language, the soul language, whatever you want to call it. Same thing with anything. I invite you to, if you listen to meditations, I invite you to, next time you listen to it, put it on mute. Play it, but put it on mute. feel the energy, because guess what? It has absolutely nothing to do with the words. It's all about the energy of it.
Yeah.
So if you're afraid of light language and you know, okay, they're speaking to my soul, put it on mute and just feel what's happening. Feel what's going on with your body. Look at a piece of art a different way. If you paint, you're like, oh my God, I'm just doing this because it's joyful. Look at it. Like, really? Is it just joyful? Who's looking to purchase this? I can guarantee you, you're doing it for somebody if you're going to be selling it, and you'll feel that energy go into that, however it is, whatever type of art you're doing. And I'm sure, you know, Patty, when you looked at yours, and I know you must have felt the difference in the energy to your pieces.
I totally did. And I didn't really connect dots though until you explained that to me. And it was interesting. And because I started doing it, I started going to sip and paint. And then I thought, well, wait, why can't I sip and paint at home? And all of a sudden I have an art gallery in my living room. But the way I choose what I'm going to paint, I have paint from a photograph. I had something resonated with me, and I did like a Highland cow, one of those cute baby Highland cows. And it's wild because two different people that looked at it said it made them tear up. And I thought, wow, because when I look at those, I see the TikTok videos, like I want one. They're so cute. And so that was what went into it. And it's interesting because when people look at that, they do get it. And you know, now I'm painting different energy vortexes, global energy vortexes, and it is wild because, you know, going in with that. And for me, I can stand in front of one of the ones that's done and literally I absolutely, it's like a flow and it's like, woo, this is great. And I can transform myself to that location and just feel it coming through. And it's wild. And so for anybody that's having a hard time connecting with what we're talking about, I have a great example for you. If any of you have small children that came home from school or maybe colored something and you stuck that up on your refrigerator, if you tell me that you don't have love pouring out of you every time you look at that, same thing we're talking about. Just be open to it when you're looking at other different pieces of art. So just keep that in mind and play in your house, move something around. If you've got some art somewhere, move it around and see what happens. There's a challenge. We're throwing it down. Tracy, what do you got?
Two things. One, it's interesting because I have written a couple books and my children's art are growing up. I have two girls and that's all the art in my books. And when they were kind of like, Mom, why are you we did that when we were 6. And I was like, you don't understand the energy, and some of it's ceramics, some of it's art, of not only children have this imagination and this love of life and this, they're really tapped in. And I said to them, like, because this art carries so much energy. I want to, you know, and it's a collaboration of, you know, my book with my children's art. Like it's a beautiful masterpiece of the energy of me and my children. And there's so much in there, the mother energy, the child play energy, the feminine. So we're just speaking to this energy, how powerful art is. And I want to add on, this applies to anything you have passion about. I like writing now. I used to do art and ceramics in my earlier, now I just have kind of gravitated more to writing. Or if you love to cook, or if you love to garden, like the energy, it doesn't just have to be in an art form. It is in a creativity and a outlet of passion and joy and expression. You're a singer, you're a dancer. I think you know, back to the light language, it's however, everyone has this beautiful, amazing ability to express energy, to share energy. So it's really an individual tap in, and it can change. You know, we might be into art for a year, and then, like I said, I got really into clay. I just loved my hands in that clay. So there's so many amazing forms to have it be a vehicle and an outlet of an energetic expression.
Yeah.
And Tracy,
very
you brought up a
true.
really good point, because in your writing, what I think people don't understand is, like, when you're writing, again, it's all this natural flow of energy. And I have got 3 of your books here. Okay. And I can tell you, and I'm getting chill now, I'm thinking, I can tell you every single one of these, if I just hold this one, I feel a totally
Energy.
different energy than this one and then this one. And there have been times that I've purchased a book, and I'll tell you, I was told one day to put the one book, I think it was this one, the one book under my pillow, and I slept with that. I'm telling you, the minute I put my head on that pillow, I could feel stuff coming in, like it was wild. Then the next night, which I thought was impressive, I'm like, oh, look at that, aren't I awesome? They said put all three of them under. But this way it was too thick. I'm like, okay, that's so I like spread them out. But I was like,
Can I fan them?
I could feel it my whole body. And there's been times I've been told like you need this book. So I get the book on Amazon or whatever, and they'll be like, I say, okay, what do I need? Because I know that I don't. It's very rare that I read a book from front to back. I'm like, okay, what do I need? I'm gonna open up, and they're like, no, you just need to sit with it. I'm like, really? I paid that money to just sit with it? I couldn't I have just looked at it on the screen? And they're like, yeah, you could have, but you didn't ask. I'm like, oh, great. So I will sit with it. And then again, they'll say, put it next to the nightstand, or you know, if it's a thick one, they're like, put it under your pillow. It's always on the side. And I'm telling you, you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh my God, like, because you're absorbing the energy
Yeah.
of that book, that whatever, and all of the fabulousness that's inside of it. Like it really is incredible to really get into that natural flow. And that's what we're talking about. Like when you're getting into the energy of things, when you're feeling the energy, that's how you connect into that moment of now and the flow of the earth, of the world, of everything. And there can't be anything that's not working in your life, because when you're in that natural flow, everything's easy. You're not letting yesterday or tomorrow take up today. You're in this moment of now. And that's what we're really basically speaking to. Feel it within you. What's the energy doing? What's the energy around you? When you go someplace, oh, I don't like it here. It just feels weird. Yeah, you're feeling the energy.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I love this place. It's great. Or get great energy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that person. I don't know why. I don't know them. It's their energy. Like start to just recognize things, our energy, and tap into that and allow yourself to start to reframe every aspect from an energetic point, because that's where we're going. Human language is starting to get the hell out of here because it's too limited. It's too focused. If you need to hear it to understand, well, I need to know what this is saying, is what you said earlier, Patty. I need to know what this is saying. You're in your mind, you're not in the natural flow. You're going to be struggling, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. It's going to be a super shit show. So we're inviting you to get out of the shit show, get into the now, get into the natural flow, and move into the direction of where we're going, because you don't want to get left behind. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Renee. And I want to add on to what Tracy said. I love that you brought up chefs recently. I was at a sushi bar with a friend of mine, and we have this chef. He's amazing, and he just surprises us, right? And she said to him, "What was in that last dish?" And he named the fish, and then I knew where he was going with it. He said, "You don't know what the other ingredient is?" And I knew I'm like, love, love, love. And she was just like, "Mwah." And then he leans over the counter and he goes, "My heart." And if you, any, I mean, any great chef I've ever met, and I've met many of them because I stick my nose in the kitchen when I love the food and tell them how much I love it, they will tell you that there is love in their food. And and this is why when we say, God, indulge your passions, because you're spreading love. There's love in the food. I love to cook. And some people look at that as, oh God, you're in the kitchen. And I'm like, no, that's like the love zone. I love going to shop for the food. I love preparing it. And it's, but find for you whatever that may be, really practice playing with it and sitting in it, right? And go for the feeling and just forget about what you're thinking and get out of what am I thinking and go into what am I feeling. When you look at something, if you're looking at a piece of art, if you're in judgment, you're you're in the default. You're in the shit show that Renee, So find something that's resonating with you and then allow that, right? Just sit in it. But to do any of this, here's a clue. You must slow your roll. You must slow your roll in order to be present. You can't be multitasking. You can you just need to be in that moment and say, okay, how is this energy? Is this energy flowing through me? Am I contracting or am I expanding? And this is what we're inviting all of you to do in this time of amplified energy is, am I contracting or am I expanding? And we're going to be sharing with you in the weeks coming, a variety of different modalities. And like when it comes to sound healing, there's so many beautiful, like Sanskrit chants. I listen to some, I have no idea what they're talking about, but you can find one that resonates and go, oh, that sounds nice. Instrumentals are great because again, you're not tying any words to it. Anything that triggers a negative emotion and you throw that away because that's not what you want to amplify right now. But there's all kinds of beautiful, shamanic chants and things that you can choose from. And it's if it sounds good to you, it's perfect for you. And don't thing is, don't go asking other people, don't do a poll. I always caution people when you start doing polls, you're looking for acceptance and you're looking for someone to validate you or validate your taste. And now you're on the shit show. You've left your present moment and you're not trusting yourself. So this is a fun way to find ways of trusting yourself and following this is a good way to work on your intuition too, is go through some different modalities of sound healing and say, oh, okay, wait, you know what? That sounds good to me. And that's all you need. You don't need to go, oh, is this working on my heart? Is this right? What is this healing? I had a sore elbow. No, now you're recognize when you're in the shit show and say, that's not what I want to create, and just enjoy the peace and enjoy the energy of it. And so Tracy, I can see the wheels turning. What do you got?
I don't, gosh, I could go in 100 different directions right now. I do want to just say, I just said to my friend this morning, gosh, I wonder if we'll ever get to a place that everyone realizes that the best medicine is love and joy. And we were talking about, she's in the medical field, and I was kind of having a conversation about, wow, it's really starting to come out that, doctors can't explain. There's a lot of people that have all these ailments, they're sick. The most common response I hear is, well, gosh, we don't know. And it came up this morning as well, diets, the vegan versus the keto versus there's so many, pick any subject, and there's so many different opinions and viewpoints and perspectives. And to really just come down back to, well, I don't know what resonates with you. And I thought this morning, because it's about vegan. And I was like, well, I could argue, if you eat a vegetable that is GMO modified, laden with pesticides, or a piece of fish that was just caught out of the water, I could take any subject and throw well, I'm going to disqualify everything you just said. And I'm not against anything.
Right.
You do you, and gosh, if you can bring love to the equation, you probably could eat a piece of modified lab generated, Frankenfood. And if you're like, I love this, it's such an amazing, I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe that, but let's just say if you do, I think it could be the best nutrition you have in the day, right? So
Yeah.
really,
How are you consuming it? Very true. What energetic are you giving that? Absolutely. Or it's like it ties into depression eating. Oh, I'm eating this because I'm depressed. Well, that's the energy you're putting more in your body now. But great point, Tracy. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent point. And I think we're probably going to go on to another one with this, because it's such a huge thing. And the point that we brought up earlier, every single person is different. You're going to hear things differently. You're going to see things differently, depending on your perception. If you're listening to something, you're like, you know what, I really don't like this. Okay, stop listening to it. It might be that you're not ready to awaken or to do whatever within you, or it just isn't your vibration, period. It's not something you're meant to be. Everybody, we're all in this field, all talking about the same stuff. It's all different words, right? It's what resonates with you. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this person, now I'm going to move over to this one. As you're following that whole aspect, it's the exact same thing with your diets. Exactly what Tracy said. I can eat something that I'm like, oh my God, this is going to make me fat, because the belief system is so strong that they are shoving down our throats on television and everything else. This is going to make you fat. This isn't healthy for you. But all these things that it's like, no, what's right for you? I know a ton of people that just go on, they're like, okay, I love this. Thank you so much for giving, your life for me and whatever. I love this whole thing. And this is only going to put nutrients into my body. And somebody else will look at them like, that's nothing but shit. You're going to get fat. This is going to be in your complaint. And I'm telling you, you look at that person, you're like, my God, they're like so freaking healthy. So it's this piece of really listening and paying attention to what works for you. there's not one thing out there that works for every single one of us. It's impossible. We're
True.
all different,
Very
right?
true. Well, ladies, this went fast, and we're going to absolutely have more to say on this subject. But the main, remember the main thing to keep in mind is get out of your head, get into your heart, and start to practice feeling. And we're going to be sharing with you different modalities again that we all enjoy and practice, and in the hopes that you might, find something that resonates with you and that'll help you in the healing process. And it gets you out of that default fight or flight thought system that's gone. It's gone. We've evolved out of it. So if you're choosing to still plug into that old socket that doesn't work, it's not going to be the same experience as for those of you who are embracing the new energy and choosing to expand. So, ladies, thank you for a fabulous session, and I will see you next episode.
Thank you.